Hey everybody, welcome back to A Nerd, a Teacher, and a Hockey Player, a relevant yet irreverent look at business, technology, and life in Wichita or wherever you may be. I'm Paul, I'm the nerd.
I'm Kimber, and I'm the teacher.
And I'm Jeff, I'm the hockey player.
And Jeff, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about ego as a barrier to growth. And my ego isn't a barrier. Yours is.
Oh, no.
Well, and that's and I want to kind of lead with a story from a previous employer. I was in a meeting with my boss and my boss's boss's boss, and I won't name names, but you know who you are, Jackie. And she's telling me these things that she wants done, and that they're kind of contrary to the way I think things ought to be done. And I said, that really chaps my ass. And at that moment, I thought, well, that's kind of a ego is my barrier to growth. But in reality, if you think about it, if she'd listened to me, they'd have been much better to organization. So it's not me, it's them.
Again. The ego. I think about ego as a barrier to growth a lot of times in so much as both, whether it be professional or personal development, and that is continuing to sharpen the saw, right? Continue to learn, continue to build. It's easy to talk about when we're in technology because technology changes, and that's just kind of a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. But I think about things like even in leadership and setting your ego aside to learn new things and learn how, for example, different generations do things and how they work. I read a book called
Just one?
It's just the only book I've ever read. It has big pictures.
And a big red dog named Clifford.
Clifford. No.
There's so many words in Clifford the Big Red Dog.
There are.
There's so many words in those books.
There are. But this one was not Clifford.
Okay.
It was called Sticking Points. And it was about the different generations that are now in the workforce, because we're now spanning 5 generations.
Wow.
Which is interesting that, you got boomers and you got Gen Zers and 3 other ones in between that. So anyway, it was a neat thing. And I remember thinking about when I was reading that book and trying to learn, it's like, open up your mind, continue to learn and continue to try to be better at leading, because this generation doesn't respond to the same kinds of things that Gen Xers or millennials or boomers or any of them do. So anyway, that was something that I thought of as I was driving in about, I could use that as don't let your ego get in the way of your growth, and keep learning, keep sharpening your saw. You guys are both looking at me like I got a third eye.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to identify the generation in which you are a part of and what that means.
That shall remain. No, I'm not going there.
Oh, all right.
I know what generation you are.
What?
What?
I'm a millennial.
I know you are.
I'm a millennial, and we're the best.
I might be one ahead of you. I'm actually a tweener.
I'm gonna invoke the squirrel in just a moment if I don't get back on task.
On task.
So I think you're right, though, Jeff. I think it's, as leaders, as employees, as employers, we need to be aware that we're not, as much as it pains me to say it, always going to be 100% right. One of the things that's real interesting about our business model, to kind of tie it back to the office or to work for a minute, is, we do a kind of a personal approach to delivering IT services. Yep. Mm-hmm. Visit us at www.onesourcetechnology.com for more information. But anyways, our business model actually came from a conversation I was having with a client 20 years ago. He said, I know you can deliver everything remotely. I knew, you can do everything from a call center in India. So, but I still want to see you on a regular basis. I still want somebody from your organization to come out and see me, to know my business. Mm-hmm. And that resonated so much with me that it's, kind of a core factor of our business model today, still 20 years later, and a differentiator for us in the market. But if I approach that from the attitude of, my shit doesn't stink and I know everything I'm doing, and I'm the tech guy, I know how to deliver these services, I'd never gotten there.
Right.
So, it's taking that opportunity to realize you may not be the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. You may not be the smartest person in the room, but take that moment and kind of, identify, is there something I can learn from this opportunity? Is there something that I can grow from this interaction with, and maybe set my ego aside for a minute?
I'm so glad to know this, because I had wondered for a while now how you landed on this concept of.
Not me, dude. Not me, dude.
That was, I mean, one of the differentiators of the way we do managed IT services. And I had never heard the story behind how you arrived at that assigned.
I firmly believe that if you listen to your customers, to your clients, they will tell you how to get their money and how to get more of their money. If you listen to your employees, they will tell you how to be successful and how to use them to be more successful. So you got to, the ego thing's bullshit. You got to set it aside, and you got to, listen to your clients, listen to your employees, listen to the community, and continue to grow. And, at times ask yourself, why am I still talking when the people that want to teach me are out there willing to teach me, and I just need to listen?
Like it.
I think it's a big communication thing. Like, if you communicate at me in a way that I don't prefer to be communicated at, I'm not listening to anything you say. And that's my ego. That's 100% me getting my hackles up and being like, okay, well, you're a dumbass. I'm not listening to anything you have to say. You can heck right off. But
so how do we get you to set that aside and recognize that might be a barrier to your growth? That there might be times, believe it or not, there may be times that Jeff is right and you're wrong. And you need to kind of cool your jets and go,
oh, man.
God, he might be right.
Oh, that shit never happens. That never fucking happens.
Well, Jeff and everybody's giving me that money today.
This
I
is
like
where
this video.
Troy cues in the line from the Billy Joel song, "You may be wrong for all I know, but you may be right."
Yep.
I may be crazy. I think for me, I can't take it personally. I want to, I can't. If I can set that aside, back up, be like, this is not personal. Nobody thinks, like, everything feels personal for stuff, but it's like, if I'm upset, I'm not still thinking about you and your feelings. I'm thinking about me being upset. So if the person who's talking at me and not to me is upset, they're not thinking about me. They're thinking about whatever's going on with them. So if I just take a step back, don't take it personally, that lets my ego go aside. Yeah, okay, fine, they're mad. I did do that thing. Go ahead and own that. That's accountability. Now what? So for me, it's, nope, this is not personal. And if it is personal, we got a different problem.
Right. That's a different story.
That's a different problem.
I have one example I can think of as I through my career. At one point in time, I thought that I had this whole leadership management thing figured out, and that was the ego talking. I'd found some success. I'd gained some promotions. I'd led successful teams, and you just start getting to think that you've got it all figured out. And I got my wings clipped, and that at the time, my ego didn't let me see the benefits of it, and a little bit the way it was handled wasn't probably the best way to handle that, but wasn't very long after that, as I reflected, that I realized that was an opportunity for growth. And if I can just glean from that the things that I needed to, and not take it personally, or not get my feathers ruffled because I didn't want to hear that, but I needed to. And it changed me big time in terms of how I lead, and made me, I think, a little bit more self-aware that just when you think you've got it figured out, that's probably a sign that you don't, and that your ego's starting to get a little big.
And we'll kind of leave things there with the fact that yes, your shit does stink, and take a minute and learn from others and use it as an opportunity for growth. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you guys next time.